think that aloo is bad for them, eggs are bad for them, gluten is bad for them.
Kavita Devgan, a renowned nutritionist and 6X best-selling author, breaks down nutrition, intermittent fasting, and fad diets. With a science-backed approach rooted in traditional wisdom, she reveals what truly works, helping you build lifelong health.
Where do all these diets come from? Are they like medically funded? Are they from people who have success stories?
Everyone wants to go viral today. What is happening is that people have always wanted quick fixes. No one really wants to do the hard grind. So just because Vidya Balan said she was on an anti-inflammatory diet, now everyone wants an anti-inflammatory diet. Intermittent fasting is not a weight loss tool at all.
What are some massive misconceptions that you still find very hard to break?
One myth, second is fear, and the third problem, which is
Such a delight to have you, Kavita. I really appreciate you being here because I've always been very interested in the subject of holistic wellness and nutrition. And interesting because even now, as I speak to you, I am on day 7 of my detox, which I'm doing for the first time ever. It's like a grit pan cleanse with ghee. So I've been doing that since yesterday or day before, and feeling a bit nauseous, but all in all, it's all
somebody's
going
with
well.
you, right? You're not trying to do it on your
Sure.
own.
Yeah, Ayurvedic practitioner.
Don't try these things. I tell everyone, please outsource some things. You
Yeah,
can't be a master of everything, frankly.
exactly. And we can't because you guys are the experts and you've been in the space for over 25 years. So I can't wait to learn from you in this conversation. And no, I've had some gut issues, so I've just been dealing with that. So I was like, may as well just start the new year on a good note and do this once and for all. But I absolutely loved your book that I skimmed through. One is food, Fix It with Foods, and the
Yeah.
other one was the Don't Diet Plan. It is fascinating. And I was like, this is right up my alley. I love this stuff. And I love how you start off by saying that there's so much misinformation. And I can't agree more because we're in this world where everyone's expert now. They have their own fields of study and you trust whoever has a doctorate or something. My own example, right? Like, funny story, a few years ago, are you familiar with this Netflix documentary called The Game Changers?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So I watched that, gave up complete meat, no chicken, no meat, nothing. And then I happened to read Dr. Stephen Gundry's Plant Paradox.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
I gave up everything on the website, like no lectins, no tomatoes, no this, no beans. I'm like, what the hell do I eat? So I was really overwhelmed. So yeah, the question to you is like, how do we keep up with all this endless information in this world and just differentiate what's right from what's wrong?
Yeah. So, first of all, Sukun, very happy to be here today. And at every opportunity, I do like to answer this question, what you've just asked, because trust me, that is causing more the misinformation or the amount of information. I won't even say misinformation. The amount of information out there is really harming much more than I feel lack of information today.
100%.
What is happening is that people have always wanted quick fixes. That has not changed. No one really wants to do the hard grind. But today, the quick fixes are available dime a dozen. You go to any vehicle, whether it's Instagram, social media, or even if you go to TV, any broadcast channel, everyone has realized the only way to go viral is to give somebody a
Yes.
very quick fix. I mean, now they've moved beyond quick fixes also. It's like quick fixes.
You said it.
But
Yes.
the fact is that even when you're saying it, the person, I'm sure, has to know that this is not the right way to go about it. Because, like, there are no quick fixes, there is no food. The other angle to this is that there is no food or no habit which harms right away. So, like that one potato chip, if you do have it, will not harm you, frankly.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it's only the broad rules that I feel people should be talking about. And also, people should be very careful when they're dispensing information. So, first of all, I'm trying to talk to some people who are actually dispensing information out there. Just because it worked for you, just because you lost 20 kilos by doing something, or you happen to subdue your symptoms of arthritis maybe by drinking, like, say, maybe potato water. I'm just giving you an example.
Sure.
Doesn't mean that that potato water would be good for everyone else out there. If somebody is diabetic or somebody is pre-diabetic and arthritic and just watches this one video and says, wow, this is an easy thing to do. You do this cut potato water and my arthritis is going to reverse. Maybe it will. I mean, that's what I say. I'm giving everybody that benefit of doubt. But the HB1AC will, climb further high.
Yeah. Every body is so different. There's no universal law.
there there cannot be a universal law, which is why there are so many foods, which is
Yeah.
why there are so many ways to eat those foods. And it's also not a very easy solution. This looking to get fit or looking to get thin has no easy answers. You did not gain 20 kilos in what, a month or
Yeah,
2 months or
exactly.
3 months or 5 months, right?
So,
So you have to give your body that much time to lose
mm,
that weight also. Similarly, you did not get the deficiency of iron overnight, right? So you have to give your body time to reverse that deficiency and to get enough iron in the body. You have to look
yeah.
at your body very holistically. One question that I ask everyone is that, let me ask you only, Sukun, when you buy a car or when you buy like a phone, your next phone, how much research do you do?
I do quite a bit.
Quite a bit. That's
Yeah.
everybody today,
Yeah.
right? You would not just watch one reel, that person says that I
Yeah.
think this phone is the best in
Yeah,
the
we draw
world.
comparisons, battery life, this, that. We do our research.
You
We're a
do
very
all
well
that,
informed consumer.
and phone or a car is something that is easily replaceable as well. But when you listen to any information or health news about your body, we quickly start following it like a herd mentality attitude,
Sure.
and your body can
Yeah.
never be replaced. You cannot get another body. So do
Yeah.
not do the experimentation on your body. So the way you consume information for other things, even materialistic things which are replaceable, I mean, you must do at least 10 times more research than that when you're putting something inside your body. That is a simple
Exactly.
prism, that I want everyone to keep.
I
Do
love
not.
that we've gone straight in the matter in the first 5 minutes of the conversation. So, what are some massive misconceptions that you still find very hard to break?
In my practice, you must have read this in my book also, that half the time I'm only debunking myths. You know, with two-thirds of the people, at least, if not more, 80%, I would say, not even 75%, 80% of the people, I'm only debunking myths. Till today, people think that aloo is bad for them, eggs are bad for them, you know,
Gluten, we'll talk about that as
gluten
well.
is bad
Yeah.
for them. Everybody was like, I want to just give up gluten. I'm like, okay, you know, maybe, but let me first assess,
Exactly.
right? Then so this demonizing of foods is one big, huge problem today. That's a huge myth again.
Very cool word. Demonizing of foods. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is. And the food can never be bad for you as long as it is food, quote, food, not something that's in a packet which is not really a natural food. I'm talking about only food here.
In proportion as well. So,
It can
yeah.
never be bad for you. Any food, every food is good for you as long as you eat that food in the right proportion.
Mm.
If you eat more of the good foods and less of the bad foods, it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
You don't have to remove any food from your diet,
Yeah.
which is why in Fix It with Foods, that book I wrote particularly for this reason, and it has a chapter on potato, it has a chapter on banana, it has a chapter on eggs. These are the three foods that are demonized the most. People are like,
Yeah.
these are bad for us for different reasons. Banana people think will make them gain weight. Eggs they think will increase cholesterol. Far from it. And potatoes also people think, wow, worst thing in that. They would be eating maybe like a burger out there, but they'll say, no, can't have potatoes. That is a
Yeah.
kind of mismatch that people have in their minds, right? So that is one myth, food demonizing. You have to stop doing that. Second is fear mongering. I tell people the moment you see a reel that is scaring you with a food or with a habit or something, just scroll past. You deserve better. You need a good relationship with food. You don't want to be scared of your foods or your habit or something like that, right? So
Yeah.
that's the second problem that I see around me all the time. And the third problem, which is still there, is that people believe very easily in claims that are too good to be true. I say that if they sound too good to be true,
They probably are
they
too good to be true
are
as well.
probably too good to
Yeah.
be true.
Yeah.
You have to understand that. And science, nutrition science, is a very nascent science. It's evolving with 30 years of experience, and many, many years of study behind me and practice behind me, I'm still learning today. A food which is in a bad list today, trust me, take it from me, will be in a good list soon. The moment another big research comes out.
Yeah, every other year there's different research. At one point, ghee was toxic. Now it's the best thing on the
We are
planet.
studying every day. Food is not nutrients alone, and nutrients are not just the ones we already know about. One food we've probably discovered that like sweet potato, for example, has a lot of vitamin A for us. Great, and we keep tom-toing about it, right?
Sure.
But the fact is that sweet potato is not just vitamin A alone. It is a combination of a lot of things.
Sure. Yeah.
So
I understand where you're coming from
the
and very
nutrition
relevant.
science is very, very, very nascent. Do not believe in everything that is. Take it with a pinch of salt. I tell everybody, take research also with a pinch of salt.
Yeah, but that's the thing, when it's hard to actually be skeptical when you're following these so-called experts. Like I followed blindly the plant paradox, which I guess is again has its own propaganda for some reason. But I followed that guy. I followed the game changers that veganism is a new thing and forget meats and it's toxic for you. So how do you actually tell? Like it's very hard to make the choices when you are trusting the experts who have done the work, supposedly, who have done the research. Then you can't really tell. So it's very, very hard to keep up in the right way, is my view.
No, my thing is that whatever you're listening to, you must put the tadka of common sense on it.
Yeah, but I at that time didn't know what common sense is, right? I didn't know about lectin. So, oh wow, this is a new thing. Let me learn more about this. Or maybe he's right. So, he's a doctor.
Lectin, like I said, lectin is one part, one component of that food.
Yeah.
What about the other goodness that food has?
Yeah. I mean, that is where common sense
I
comes
tell
in,
you
like,
what, the only rule that works, trust me, is moderation.
I love that.
And that
I
should be the
believe in that. Yeah.
first rule of your getting healthy journey. If you're able to follow this rule of moderation, and if you're able to follow the rule of rotation of foods, which takes care of variety for you, right? You will never go wrong. Because if you're eating everything in moderation, portion control happens automatically.
Sure.
And if you rotating foods and have, for example, you're doing grain rotation, which will take care of your gluten nonsense. Frankly, if you're eating wheat twice a week only, how will gluten in any case bother you, right?
Yeah.
And then you get all the other grains in your body, you get the benefits of that. You need to do oil rotation, so which again takes care of this whole nonsense of this oil is good for you, that oil is good for you. Why? One, you must eat less of it, and second, you keep rotating them and having, right? You get the benefit of all of them,
Yeah.
and no harm done by using just one kind of thing. So when our parents used to say, eat your greens, eat them all, eat variety of vegetables.
Eat intuitively. That's what
Yeah,
makes the most sense. Yeah.
exactly. I tell my clients, and what I do is that if most of them would be probably eating like three vegetables over and over and over again, right? Maybe like one fruit or two fruits over and over and again. So without creating too much drama about it, I would add more new vegetables every week to their diet in
Yeah.
the ways that they like them.
Makes sense.
So which takes care of vegetable rotation for them, right? Which takes care of fruit rotation for them, and which also takes care of your gut microbiota, because eventually the whole thing is dependent on how strong or how healthy your gut is, right? If you're eating just one kind of food all the time, we're very clear now that the rest of the bacteria die down. The ones that are not, they get lazy and they die down. You're just not eating a millet ever. Then why would your body hold on to bacteria which is required to digest the millet?
Yeah.
But then the same thing happens if you completely remove wheat from your diet. Eventually, the same story will happen, right? If you do ever by mistake end up eating wheat, which you would, your
Then
body will
there's
react
trouble.
very, very
Yeah.
badly.
Yeah.
Moderation, rotation, which is variety, and the third, eat everything without guilt. The moment you're eating the best food of the world, the most nutritious food of the world, but you're doing a lot of guilt along with it, or there's just too much stress in your life, maybe only 10% of that would be getting absorbed. So you could be buying the most expensive supplements in the world and throwing the money out.
Yeah, because the mind also has a role in how food gets, process in the
Definitely.
body,
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
which we most definitely underestimate. So speaking of that, I obviously told you that your book caught my attention, Fix It with Foods, because it implies that you can fix diseases through holistic well-being and like health, which I believe in as well. So do you have a backstory as to how you got in the space in the first place?
Yeah, so growing up, I grew up in a small city. I grew up in Gwalior. And in my time, there were only two professions which were considered, reputable. If you were a boy, you were told to do engineering, and if you were a girl, medicine, right? If you were not being married off. So in my family, thankfully, that was
Right.
not a problem. Career was always an option. But
Very cool.
medicine was being pushed down my throat. I mean, definitely because they had my best interest at heart. Because my dad thought that it'll be great if you become a doctor. When I was very clear that I did not want to be a doctor for sure. I did not know what I wanted to be, but I definitely was sure that I was did not want to be a doctor because there was no way I could handle. The only thing I hated in my biology class was the that
Dissecting, yeah.
yeah, I just couldn't do it. Okay.
Yeah.
I was very clear. I know my shortcomings were always in my life, at least that's my strength. I know what I can't do. So
Yeah.
then I make sure that I do what I can do. I've always been like that. So that happened. And so then eventually I was wondering, I had took biology to please him, but I did not give the exam, entrance exam and all. So then what to do after that? So I ended up I did home science. I opted for home science. In fact, I opted for nutrition honors for my
Mm.
undergrad, and I'm so glad I did. At that time,
Yeah.
hardly anybody knew what I was getting into. People were like, actually, what are you going for? Go for botany or go for zoology if at all you don't want to like do medicine. But I'm so glad I did because it was love.
I'm so glad you did.
Yeah, it was love at first lesson. I mean, I tell everyone one lesson, and I knew this was my calling because I realized that prevention is where my heart lies. Why get to a stage where you have to start curing a problem? If you can give out
Mm.
information where you can prevent it, you'll be able to help many more people like that, right? So I realized that nutrition was my calling, and I realized prevention is where I wanted to work because even in nutrition you can work in both aspects, right? You can work in a hospital and actually help treat people who have diseases, or you can help prevent. So I opted for this because I realized that this is where we need to work, and this is where not many people were working. So then I went on and did my dietetics because by then I was very clear. Within the first month of my thing, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to, work in the field of food, and I wanted to work in the field of prevention. So then I did my dietetics. Then did my internships and fellowship at Safdarjung Hospital. But right away, I chose, like I said, the field of prevention, which is
Mm.
practice, instead of working in a hospital and trying to, treat people who are already suffering. So this is how it started, and then so I've been practicing for almost 30 years now, and I've been writing for almost 25. So that
Please keep that up because writing is super engaging. I love your writing style. It's so engaging. It's super fun.
is so much. I
Yeah,
love
so more
writing.
books coming our way, hopefully.
Yes, yes, there are six already.
Yes, I'm
So
aware.
there is I'm writing another one, so that
Very
a bit
cool.
more time. So let's see
Yeah.
how
No,
much.
I love that you chose this space at the time you did because look how relevant this is in our world today, right? Like it can't be more
There
informative and
weren't
relevant.
there weren't any. I mean, there was no. I started in 2000, literally,
Mm.
and there was hardly anybody writing just on health at that time.
Right.
I took a break. I had my baby then. So I took a break for a year from
Right.
practice. So what to do? And I was a fiction writer earlier. So I
Yeah.
always enjoyed writing. So I used to write fiction and poems earlier when I was younger. So
Right.
then I started writing on health and I realized there were takers. Because the
Yes.
media, there was hardly anybody writing on health. So in fact,
Very
I think
cool.
practice took a little bit of a backseat because I could write from home. So I wanted to take it a little easy in his earlier
Yeah.
growing up years, my sons. So, in fact, writing took a front seat for many, many years for me, which is why I kept writing. I mean, I've written for almost every media in the country.
Very
The
cool.
books came much later, Sukun. My first book came in only in 2016.
Right.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I'm glad it came late because by then I had the clarity.
What was your first book?
don't diet.
Don't diet. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so that basically had, because I'm a strict, firm proponent of habits over diet.
Yeah.
I don't believe diets work. You know, I believe diet is what you eat. Diet is not what you give up. So this people have just twisted it over. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Habits are the ones that make
Yeah,
sure that
diet
things,
doesn't
yeah.
mean that I'm going on a diet. Diet, DIET means what you're eating. That's your diet. That doesn't mean you're removing food. Diet means you're adding foods, which is why the whole thing, the whole concept, or this whole creation of the don't diet. I mean, people call me the creator of the don't diet movement because that was the only one who started saying stop dieting, don't diet. Because I don't believe they work at all. What works is changing your habits one at a time.
How do you help people, introduce and remove certain habits that are not serving them? Because that's
I'll
very
give you
hard.
examples. I'll give you very simple examples. So, for example, this is the example I love to give to everybody because I do this with every single client of mine and it works every time. For example, there is someone who, gets an urge to munch on something at around 11 or maybe 11:30 or 12 or whatever. That is a time when they're so, they're getting frazzled or whatever they want to eat and they end up eating something wrong at that time. So instead of telling them that do not eat this at this time, I would put in maybe half an hour before that, 11:30 or 11, I would put in two fruits there.
Problem
With
solved.
because and it's different for different people. There are people who get the urge for meat, so then the fruit works for them. There are people who get an urge for something crunchy. I would probably add some nuts along with it, or maybe some seeds along with it, right? So what this does, it does two things. The simple replacement act, what would it do? One, it'll take care of the fruit quota for them, right? Because I do a food audit for everyone before I start with them, and almost everyone doesn't eat enough fruits.
Yeah,
Which is why I
I
really
don't.
hate it when people make these reels saying stop eating fruits, fructose.
Glycemic goes up. Yeah, I heard
I'm
that.
like, at least find out who is even eating fruits. No one is eating them. एक वो जो एक दो भी खा रहे होंगे वो भी डर के मारे छोड़ देंगे.
Yeah.
You have to understand how this works, the psychology of these reels, and I really hate them. you know so it's doing
Feel your
two things.
passion.
One, it is adding a fruit which is so much needed in that person's diet, and second, it's filling that person up. So if that person does this for 4 days, the fifth day the craving will automatically go away.
Mm.
But if I tell that person, no, you have to stop eating sugar, you have to stop eating cake, you have to stop those two biscuits with your chai, the person will listen to me maybe for 2 days. But with that chai, if I give that person maybe a small snack of makhana, the craving for the or the habit for biscuit will go away on its own.
I love your approach. I think it's sensible, it is helpful, it's relevant, and it's doable. That's what most
Sustainable.
managers do.
That's the only thing you have to, when you follow a diet or when you listen to, that's what I'm telling you. You say, now, how do you figure out whether you should follow somebody or not, or that follow that advice or not? One, never follow anybody. Everybody is giving their perspective out.
100%.
It's not going to be your perspective ever, right? So never follow somebody. But even if you do like an advice, which I often like advices of people from different as whoever I listen to, always ask yourself this one question, just this one question: how long can I sustain this? Can I do this all my life? Can I give up tomatoes all my life?
Yeah.
Or can I be a vegan all my life? Because short term strategies will only work short term. And when you stop them, they'll only harm you. So anything which you feel you can do long term, only take that advice. There'll always be an alternative advice available, which you might be able to do long term.
Fair enough. So, how do you structure your meals in a day?
I'm not a eat too hardly person. I do
Okay.
not believe in that advice
So,
at
three
all.
meals or no three
Three
meals?
meals.
Like, what's
I
your.
do three
Okay.
meals. I do three
Okay.
meals because my
Yeah.
body is like that. I need food.
Yeah.
My HB1 AC stays a little on the lower side, so it's like 5.1, 5.2. So people like me need food proper 3 meals. So I do like 3 meals, okay? And so somebody like me cannot do intermittent fasting, strict intermittent fastings. So these are also, in fact, I'm doing a live to bust these tomorrow, intermittent fasting, because
Awesome.
everybody just jumps on the bandwagon. It doesn't work for everybody, and there are different types which work for different people. So I eat proper 3 meals, Sukun, and I forget. That's a big problem with me, but I try to do fruits, but I, accept that.
Any times of the day that you recommend doing fruits, or doesn't really matter, or it
Yeah,
does
you see
matter?
that. There are some rules that I pick up from Ayurveda, not all.
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
believe in all of them because unless either there has to be science behind it, a rule that I'm
Mm.
picking up, or there has to be, like because I have almost 30 years of experience, so I know, whether it works or not. Enough experience that way. So there are some rules I definitely believe, which is one thing that they say that eat fruits before sunset, because
Mm.
that I've seen practically work with almost everybody. Maybe like 10-15% of people can handle raw food after, sunset also. But most people, at least most Indians, can't handle raw food after 5-6 o'clock in the evening. So I try to keep my fruits and my salads and everything. I never give salads, very rarely. Maybe once a week or something I do, because a change is always good. But I rarely give salads for dinner, for example.
Makes sense. Yeah,
You
I've heard about that rule as well.
Yeah, no, so but that again, there are some people who can handle it. It's very different. It's the
I
same.
can't digest lettuce at night or cucumbers, so
Yeah, most
yeah,
people. I'm saying 90% of
yeah.
people can't. 100% I can't. So I do my fruits in the first half. I do my salads in the first half, and
Yeah.
try to finish dinner early. That is another rule
Sure.
that I try to tell everyone.
Do
Do
you
it.
have something like the most important meal of the day, or for you all three meals are equally important?
No, all 3 meals are equally important for me.
Okay.
But I can't skip my breakfast. I need my breakfast.
Yeah,
There are
fuel for the
people.
day. Yeah.
I do have clients who function very well with 2 meals a day.
Yeah.
Their body structured like that. So but in packing in enough nutrients, 2 meals a day is a challenge. If you try to do it on your own, you will fail. I tell everyone. So don't,
Sure.
like, people just go on the intermittent thing, and then what they do is they end up getting deficient in so many nutrients
Yeah.
by the time before they realize it.
Exactly.
So
I'm
it's different for different people. There are people who work very well with 2 meals a day. When I try to thrust, which I try always, but it never works, trust 3 meals on them, because I'm a believer that you must eat 3 meals a day. But if you can't, then I try to pack in enough in their 2 meals. I
got
need
it.
my 3 meals.
Same. So do I. So since there is such a buzz around intermittent fasting, let's just get your views on what kind of what kind of people is this ideal for?
Okay, so intermittent fasting is nothing but a fancier name for the religious fasting that we've always done in our life. Okay, it's just that anything that you just give it a nice what should I say, tagline, or talk about it
Works.
enough, or give
Yeah.
it like a buzzy name, works very well. Like turmeric latte, for example, it fizzled out, but there are enough examples like that. You know, like for even that latest trend which has come up, which is that mix olive oil with lemon. Have you seen that?
Or bulletproof coffee, that's
No,
still
no,
trending.
bulletproof coffee to is passe. वो तो पुराना हो गया. There is
Huh?
this olive oil with lemon which has come
Oh,
up,
wow.
a new
Okay.
thing. So
Okay,
that's what I'm
so
saying. Don't keep experimenting. आप
yeah,
olive oil
let's
वैसे
just
अपनी diet
get
में
your
डालो,
views.
cook with
Yeah.
it. It's great for you. Uh, Add a lot of lemon to your diet. Why do you have to do these things? You
Okay,
know,
but who should be going for this intermittent
intermittent
fasting in the first
fasting.
place? Yeah.
So, it works for most people, especially to bring down inflammation in the body,
So
right?
I could do it because I have gut inflammation, so I could
Yes, you
possibly
can
do
do
it
that.
without losing weight because I don't want to lose more weight.
Yeah, no, no, no. Intermittent fasting is not a weight loss tool at all. Intermittent fasting is not really fasting. I know people who are on intermittent fasting and eating the crappiest food possible.
But in that window of time, right? So that's why. Okay.
That's why. So they could be eating the worst of the food. They could
Okay.
be eating like 500,000 calories at one meal, but eating just one meal a day. I'm doing intermittent fasting. That is not going to help at all. I'm telling you, what helps is जो सबसे ओरिजिनल इंटरमिटेंट फास्टिंग है ना,
Hmm.
वो क्या था कि सनसेट पे आपने खाना खत्म कर दिया.
Yeah.
You stopped eating at sunset, right?
Yeah.
And you start eating in the morning, so which is automatic 12-hour window. So if you follow this 12-hour or 13-hour or 14-hour window, automatically you would probably never need to do a stricter intermittent kind of fasting ever. That's one way to look at it. Okay, intermittent fasting is just the idea that you're giving your body a window where you're not eating at all, so that the rest, the rejuvenation and the whatever the body needs to do can happen in the inside. So for that, you don't really need to do 16/8. Not everyone needs to do 16/8. I would only suggest it to somebody who does not have an acidosis problem, acid issues, someone who does not have a very lower kind of range in the HB1AC. The like it's near 5, 5.2, 5.3. Somebody who's a pre-diabetic, yes, can do it if it is 6.2, 6.3. But again, whoever tries it, Sukun, must listen to their body, see how you're feeling after doing it. If it is
Sure.
making you cranky, if it is making you angry, if it is making you feel tired all the time, then probably it's not for you. So even
Yeah.
before you look at the rules, first listen to your body and see what your body is telling you about intermittent fasting.
And assess your temperament. Very important because food can make you crazy, hangry, or the
Ooh.
lack of food at the right times.
And
Yeah.
if you do that 12-hour, that is also, you want to be cool and you want to be able to say, I'm doing intermittent fasting. Even if you're doing 12-hour, you are doing intermittent fasting. So that is
Yeah.
perfectly all right.
So, on this subject, what lessons can we learn from our grandparents' generation that are still relevant today?
Yeah. So I have an entire book on that. Ultimate
Which is
Grandmother
called?
Hacks. Ultimate Grandmother Hacks.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
I know
that is
about
my
it.
favorite book, and that is possibly come right from here, from my heart. Because so those are the lessons I grew up eating, and I've mentioned that in my book. You know, because if you look at it now, everything that they used to follow, then there were no researchers, there were no science or something, which they were not listening to somebody. They were probably listening to somebody who's already done it practically, their own mother or their
Yeah.
father or something, and then following it. So those were all common sense based practices, which which were tried and tested over decades, not over like 100 people. You do a research over 100 people and put it out as a study, and then another research does it, over 500 people and debunks that earlier research. So those were those are rules that were tested over a long period of time practically. So they saw that morning walking in the morning is great for you. They did not know why. They did not even get into it,
Hmm.
but they followed it. They
Okay,
saw
that's
that
still
when you
relevant for
eat your
sure.
roti and you put a little bit of ghee on it, you probably don't put on weight as fast as somebody who actually eat a roti without the ghee. They did not have the concept of glycemic index. So, but now science tells us that when you put ghee on the roti, the GI comes down, the glycemic load also comes down.
Interesting.
So a whole lot of those rules are being proven right now by research. I, in fact, love to say that the research is still lagging far behind. There are so many more rules that have still not been proven right, but it's only a matter of time. For
Yeah, because the
example,
body is so
turmeric.
complex.
Turmeric. Now it's very clear that the lower rate of Alzheimer's in India was probably because every tadka had haldi in it.
Mm.
आज
Wow.
आज Alzheimer's बढ़ रहा है, dementia बढ़ रहा है because we gave up having haldi na.
But why do we give up? Because there's no
Because तड़का लगना
research.
ही बंद हो गया था. We stopped eating at home.
Mm.
We
Got it.
started ordering out, food from outside. So a whole lot of those rules which were automatically, naturally followed earlier. The biggest one being eat at home, which we gave up very happily. Entire two generations gave up that, and the next generation is paying the brunt for it. Because if we started eating once a day out, this next generation is eating probably 3 times a day out,
Yeah.
right? So the whole point is when you're eating at home, cooking at home, you're controlling everything. You're controlling portions, you're controlling ingredients, you're controlling the quality of ingredients, and you're eating fresh.
Very, very important for
And
living a
these are the
healthy.
only four things you need to control for your
Yeah.
health. Then you won't even have to do any diet or won't need supplements, nothing, as long as you can control this.
Do you have any stats on what percentage of disease is caused by food, lifestyle, as opposed to quote unquote genetics?
See, we also along the way became very lazy, Indians especially, and we started saying this thing which I heard from almost everybody. ये तो मेरी family में है, मैं
Yeah.
बच नहीं सकता. You know, my
Yeah.
father has diabetes. Oh, and I'm so scared. In my family there is cancer, right? But now there is enough research coming that only 10 to 30 in different diseases it's different, but only 10 to 30%. In fact, yesterday I put up a reel on cancer because today's World Cancer Day.
I saw. Very
Yeah, so
informative.
10 to 30% in terms in the in if we talk about cancer is only related to epigenetics. So even if we take the upper limit 30%, 70% is in your control, right?
What do you do?
You change your environment as much as you can. Again, you can't control pollution, but you can still take steps, right?
Hmm.
You can wear mask and you can keep it air purifier and stuff like that. Then there is of course your lifestyle, because if you keep moving, now research tells us that people who move and the circulatory system works better, gets oxygenated better, every organ, every cell gets oxygenated better, the risk comes down for everything, not just cancer, right? So lifestyle is in your control. Food is 100% on your in your control, and food is such a huge chunk of this whole equation, of this puzzle.
Hmm.
If you can get your food right, even if you're not able to control your environment, or even if you're not able to probably control your stress, you know, you'll probably be far better off compared to somebody who's not doing anything at all. So you can't just be sitting on a couch watching Netflix all day and just blaming your diabetes or your hypertension or your cancer to your genetics.
Sure. Yeah, because now you've also established that food also has a role in how you feel and how you think, your stress levels, your mental clarity, anxiety, correct?
I don't know if you managed to reach towards the end of my book, because every book of mine has a mind section. Because
Sure.
I personally don't believe that just by food alone you can handle, right? You could be eating the best food, but if you're running around and eating that food, it's not helping you. So
Hmm.
there is this chapter in the food where I say that sit down and eat. Let your body at least register what you're eating. Let it absorb what you're eating. You're not what you eat, you're what you absorb. It's as simple as that. If you're not absorbing the nutrients that your food is giving you, what is the whole point of eating that food?
True. I've heard
Your
another
mind
version on this.
dictates everything. Your mind dictates your habits. If you're stressed, you will do stress eating, right? If you are upset, if you're angry, you'll not probably absorb the nutrients from the food you're eating. So when you're eating food
Emotions.
and you're
Hmm.
eating in anger, the body is not able to absorb anything from there. In fact, there's a chapter there which you must read, which is this is an area which is very new in research also. The kind of food we eat also decides the kind of person we become. So this is so
Yes.
important for parents. What do you want your child to become? It goes to the extent of saying that will your child be a giving, happy, sharing person, or somebody who's a good person, can also depend on the kind of food the child is eating.
Are there any food types that define these characteristics in terms of how people turn out?
There are nutrients that help,
Okay.
you know? So the concept of serotonin and tryptophan and all, you understand right now.
Sure.
So there are these compounds in the brain that decide whether you're going to be happy or you're going to be stressed. So I don't know if you saw that reel, but it's very common that most dietitians say stop eating carbs for dinner, but that doesn't work for everybody. There could be a person who needs a little more tryptophan or serotonin in the brain. So when
Right.
that person is given a combination of carbs and good carbs and protein for dinner, that person will be happier, will sleep better, and so obviously will lose weight faster as well.
Very cool.
So everything that you eat decides how you feel, how you sleep, because they're all related, right? If you're not sleeping well, you won't feel well as well. Your energy levels won't be high.
Yeah.
Your memory, if food is everything, Sukun, everything. So which is why I tell people, stop fearing food, start respecting food. But food, not nutrients. Don't look at food from the perspective of ये प्रोटीन है, ये कार्ब्स है, ये फैट है, ये फाइबर है. नहीं, हर फूड में सब कुछ है.
Hmm. So,
Every food gives you everything.
yeah. So, what are some powerful yet very underrated foods that should be covered in everyone's diet?
There are 50 in my book, Fix It with Foods.
50?
50, more than 50 in my book. And
Wow,
then,
okay.
yeah, and then in the end, there is the section of fix it with foods, that
Yes.
kind of a thing, which is like a two-liner thing.
Do you have any favorites you want to like give a shout out to in this episode?
So, like I said, potato, stop being scared of potato. I love sweet potato because
Yeah.
it's very underrated, very, very underrated. Then I also really like dals. I people again, whole lot of these reels start demonizing dal, saying they're not a protein source.
Oh,
You think you're getting proteins by eating dal, you're wrong. I'm like,
eat
oh
chicken instead.
yeah, eat chicken. But you have to understand, even a non-vegetarian in India eats chicken twice a week. So what would that person eat for the rest of the meals?
No, I think people eat more than that. I eat more than that when I was on my regular, diet. So,
No, most people, if you
okay,
even
sure.
if you ask somebody, are you non-vegetarian? Yes, I'm a non-vegetarian.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
So whoever considers himself or herself a non-vegetarian. But again, I'm not propagating that you start eating non-veg every day, because again, animal food also needs to be in moderation. Everything
Sure.
has to be in moderation. So
Yeah.
eggs, I feel that if start more people start eating eggs, half their problem will start getting solved.
Eggs every day is cool.
Eggs every day is absolutely cool, and with the yolk. It's very
Again, I think depends on people's condition. Sometimes they might have to calm down a bit because of their metrics in the body. I don't know. Like it depends, right?
one
Again.
egg yolk a day will not harm anybody. And
Okay,
what
wonderful.
metric? You're talking about cholesterol.
Or sometimes there's liver fatty disease or
Even
something.
then, one yolk will not harm
Okay.
you. I'm very clear on that. 100% clear on that. I do not like the idea of just eating egg whites alone. If God made it with the yolk,
Yeah,
the
must be
idea
for a
is
reason.
eat it with the yolk. Because now again, new research has started coming. Just look it up. That if you keep eating just egg whites, egg whites, egg whites, then probably inflammation in your body could increase.
My God,
Because
there's no end to this.
because we don't know, right? We don't know what how yolk supports the white. How do we know? That research has not been done.
Yeah.
If we know about, say, 100 nutrients in egg right now, maybe there are 500 compounds that we're not even aware of. And so we don't know how
True.
they work. So all of these foods, yeah, the water foods. I'm a huge fan of all these seasonal veggies that everyone makes a face whenever I ask them to eat. Loki, tinda, parval, all of these, I love them because I feel they really cleanse your body. You would not have to go on a detox if you eat during season. If you eat one water food every day, you will probably not have to go on a detox at all.
Very with the water food you said.
Yeah, I mean, I call them water food, but
Okay.
basically they're this family, no, the gourd family,
Yeah.
the loki, the tinda,
Yeah.
and parval, and then kaddu, and then
Very exciting.
zucchini. I
That's
personally
my
love
dinner
them. I'm
tonight,
maybe very
zucchini.
lucky because I'm hardwired to like all the foods.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I did see a very interesting reel by, this guy, Dave Asprey, who talks about actually popularized bulletproof coffee. And he was in talks with someone else about how Indians are genetically predisposed to having belly fat. I forget the gene name he mentioned, but like, would you agree with that?
No, we
Right?
are, we are definitely
Which kind of
shortchanged.
sucks for us, to be honest, but
It sucks for us, but then we are making it worse.
yeah.
If you already know, for example, if I already know I'm predisposed to it, would I still go and guzzle alcohol every evening and eat those fried snacks with it?
Yeah.
That is nobody's fault. But
We don't really help, Indians don't help themselves.
don't move at all. Yeah, I agree with it. We have this metabolic syndrome actually, which
Yeah.
predisposes us to all these lifestyle disorders. But conveniently, everybody has just taken this umbrella that we are genetically predisposed and left it at that.
No, no, there's so much work we have to do at our own level, 100%. There's no
100%.
denying that.
All the more reason that an entire generation has to completely change the way they are eating and moving and living. The kind of work stress, the kind of zero work life balance is not helping at all. And of course, the pollution is not helping at all. So, all the odds are against us, literally.
Yes. So it means all the more work to do.
Yeah, so what?
Yeah.
So that's what I. People are like, we can't do a thing. We are just like destined to be like this. I'm like, you can control at least two factors here, which are big factors. Three factors here, which are big factors. Stress, you can mitigate. At least try to mitigate, right? Food is 100% in your control, and movement is 100% in your control.
Sure.
It's only genetics which is left, right? And the pollution, maybe two factors you can't do a thing about,
Hmm.
but the rest of the three you can. So at least work on that 60-70% that you have with you.
Right. Okay, here's a controversial one.
Hmm.
What is a fad diet that you think should never have come to surface?
Fad diet.
Yeah.
every
One.
no, I can't. Every week there's a new one, and trust me, just go into the details. It'll be the same diet with a new name.
What, like keto? And then there's,
I don't like keto diet at all. Okay, so maybe
okay.
we can talk about that. I don't like keto diet at all because it can actually end up worsening health of a lot of people. Lot of people. Okay, I've seen that it doesn't work. Ketosis is not required for everybody, right? And especially that kind of strict ketosis.
Damn.
And it's not sustainable. It's not, especially for Indians. We just talk about the metabolic syndrome. Our livers are already not functioning fine. And if we just pile on so much fat on it, just imagine what's going to happen. So keto diet is something that needs to be done very strictly under a doctor,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or a hospital dietitian. Anyone who's putting you on it just for weight loss is doing you a disservice, very clearly. You can use these tools sparingly for like maybe it's like 3 days a week sometimes just to budge a plateau. That's a different story. But trying to do it on months together, and a lot of people do it, and a lot of people lose weight. But have you ever gone back and spoken to those people 6 months later?
No, I
Nobody
haven't
does
really.
that. You just
Yeah.
look at a success story and like, wow, you know, and then you need to actually give it time and speak to that person 6 months later and figure out what happened to that person after 6 months or a year.
Just makes you wonder, where do all these diets come from? Are they like medically funded? Are they from people who have success stories? Are they just like,
Go viral today. Everyone wants to go viral today. I made that cancer reel. Very few people saw it. Although I was giving a very clear, detailed structure as to what can actually help prevent cancer rather than that one hack of drinking this. But instead of trying to do that work
mm-hmm.
of including those five nutrients in the diet, people want to drink that one drink because it's easier. That's human nature. I'm not blaming anybody, but that's exactly how it works. So these diets come from people who've understood that there is this huge market of weight loss out there, and
Yeah, propaganda basically. Something's
yes, and
benefiting at someone's
everybody
expense.
realizes that eventually, like I also realized eventually, but I'm not budging. People budge very easily. That if you have to go viral, you have to get quick fixes,
Oh
right?
my God, I hate
So
that.
in
I'm just
diets
like
as
you.
well,
I don't do these, yeah, random viral fixes. Yeah, whatever.
everybody
I'm like
does
you.
it. Cocoon. You'll be surprised. People
It's
love it.
crazy.
Yeah.
Because people are obsessed with metrics, right? How many followers you have. That's it. That's defining measure of success today. So what do you
And
do?
also how easy a thing that the person is suggesting is.
Yeah.
People just put their brains, throw their brains in the dustbin, I feel, in the bin when it comes to their own health. Like I gave you the example, you're buying the phone or you're buying a house or you're buying everything, you do so much research. But when it comes to your own body, which you can never replace, you will not get another body ever. कितना भी आप plead कर लो भगवान से, नहीं मिलने वाला ना. You can't.
Except when you Brian Johnson spending 2 million a year to like look younger every year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But that I don't know. That is also
Yeah.
very new. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Eventually,
Very.
we'll know 10 years from down the line how whether that's working or not.
Sure.
I take everything with a pinch of salt. Yeah. Now.
Makes sense to function in this world, to just stay sane and well informed. So make your own choices
Make your own
and
choices and give your
yeah.
body the respect it deserves. Look at food as something that nourishes you, not as a beautifying, get thinning, tool. Today, there's anti-inflammatory is a buzzword. Like I'm saying, there's a new buzzword every week. So just because Vidya Balan said she was on an anti-inflammatory diet, now
We're very
everyone wants
brainwashed.
an
We're just
anti-inflammatory diet. So I'm like, my regular clients are calling up and saying, please put me on an anti-inflammatory diet. I'm like, you're already doing an anti-inflammatory diet, which is the only reason why you're losing weight.
yeah, we're
There
very
is no such
brainwashed.
thing as an anti-inflammatory diet, which is completely different from a healthy diet. A healthy diet is an anti-inflammatory diet. Stop processed food.
Well
Your
said.
diet is anti-inflammatory. Simple.
Very well said. All right. You have 6 books, Kavita.
Yeah.
Would you want to give any 3 of them, top 3 picks, a shout out for people to go and find and read right away?
Yeah. So it depends where you are, what your internal
Sure.
climate is, what your requirement is. I tell people you need to assess your own body first, and then take help. I mean, don't, like I tell everyone, you don't have to go on a plan,
Yeah.
but at least speak to an expert one on one. Take one session, just 2 sessions. Let the person do your food audit and give you suggestions. You know,
Yeah. But do you have
or
any like top 3 picks from your books that
for
you've.
my book, definitely read the Ultimate Grandmother Hacks. If you
Yeah.
want to do, if you want to remind yourself first the habits that you've given up, which you need to bring back, and teach your children. Do your
Mm-hmm.
next generation this service. And they're very
Cool.
easy, very simple habits to follow. So, Ultimate Grandmother Hacks for sure. Fix it with foods again, very, very important because, like I said, your food is your friend, not your foe. Keep it on your right side. Don't make enemies with any food.
Mm.
So fix it with food. So if you read a chapter, for example, on spinach, which tells you the superpower of spinach, you'll probably give it the respect it deserves. That is the only
Yeah.
reason why I've done that, because that book also tells you how to eat it. So if you don't like palak, I'm sure there'll be a recipe there that you'll love it. In fact, that has a sequel book, which is the latest one, the 500 recipes. So
Right.
if you're a cook who like to cook, that is a sequel to it, and you can get the
Got it.
recipe book. But also, if you are on that weight loss journey, before you follow any fad diet, please just read the Don't Diet Plan.
Yes, my fave. Yes.
Just read that Don't Diet Plan because it'll completely change how you will look at fat loss. Like
Yeah.
the first chapter, I do not believe in calorie counting, like I've mentioned there very clearly. So this will just completely change how you will look at food and how you will structure your diet, and you'll probably then you will still watch those reels because they're very entertaining, but at least you won't run to for start for
Yeah.
applying them on your
Blindly.
body.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. And where else would you like people to discover your world and find out about more about you and contact you?
I'm there on all social media. I'm there on Twitter.
Okay.
I'm there on Instagram. Facebook, I barely go. So Instagram is the best place to find me because late, but now I'm focusing on putting information out there because I was
Makes
too
sense.
busy writing. So I did not jump on the Insta bandwagon earlier. But
Yeah.
from last year, I started putting a lot of content there, and I reply to all my DMs. So I'm there. You can definitely
Amazing.
just ping me there.
Okay. And here's a fun one for you. How would you define an epic being?
An epic being is someone who respects and takes care of oneself first. Self. First, you need to, whether it's a mother, whether it's a father, whether it's a grandfather, grandmother, whoever it is, first start taking care of your own health and happiness. Only then start taking care of someone else. Because only when you are at your 100% health game, 100% health status, will you be able to succeed in life. Any field you might be wanting to succeed. If you're not well from inside, the symptom might not still be there outside. You might not still have that headache or that exhaustion coming in. But if you're not well, your body will tell you and you will not be able to work at your 100% best. So take care of your health very, very consciously if you really want to be an epic being.
Apt. Very apt. Thank you for that, Kavita, and thank you for being here and sharing your insanely powerful insights in this conversation. And like I said, there's so much to learn from you. And indeed, I have learned from you today. So thank you for being here and all the work you do in the world.
Thank you. Lovely talking.